liberty. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Thanks a lot for joining us here on this 5th day of February. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Thanks a lot for taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Got Justin Kalen sitting high atop the crew chief's box as always.
That's right.
Hope your day's off to a good one, and we can add to that. A lot to do on the program today. Of course, Chronic Hoosier will be with us. Look forward to talking to him, especially after Saturday. It's going to be a lot more enjoyable of a conversation. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier also along as well. Lots to get to, talk about. Before we get to all that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this 5th day of February 2019. A new AP Top 25 is out for college basketball. Top 4 remain the same with Tennessee, Duke, Virginia, and Gonzaga. Indiana's next opponent on Thursday, Iowa, back in the poll at number 20. In Big Ten action last night, Penn State gets their first conference win, 59-52 at Northwestern. And 4-star 2019 defensive tackle Christian Williams decommits from Minnesota, and IU is among his top destinations. Those are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this February 5th, 2019. For more information, go to thedailyhoosier.com.
And welcome back. Like I said, plenty to get you on the program today. Chronic Hoosier will be along with us. That's in the next hour. Mike Schumann as well. A lot to talk about. DeAndre Francois, the quarterback of Florida State. Not sure if you followed this, but he's been a sensation since his freshman year. He missed a year on injury. Now he had some domestic problems that now a girlfriend has recanted that entire story, but he's already been dropped from the Florida State football program. And now she's recanting the story. It's a saga.
What a bee.
It's a saga. But a little bit more interesting than that is the NCAA investigation. You know, there's not going to be anything come out supposedly this year. At least nothing is going to be done, but that does not mean that things are not underway, and apparently they are. Arizona, one of those schools that's going to be, quote-unquote, looked at. But a big piece came out in Yahoo Sports with Pat Forty and Pete Thamel, Dan Wetzel. Those guys are always, you don't want them on you. But as Arizona is slogging through a difficult season on the court, the school appears to be facing uncomfortable questions on the future of embattled coach Sean Miller. Sources told Yahoo Sports that Arizona is one of the schools tied to the federal basketball scandal where a former NCAA inquiry has begun, which is not surprising considering Emmanuel Book Richardson has already pleaded guilty to charges that he was an assistant coach at Arizona. Arizona has the country's #1 recruiting class for next season. There's a seizing looming of issues right now with both the federal probe and ongoing NCAA investigation that complicates who's going to be the coach. The issues began with the upcoming trial of Christian Dawkins. He's already been convicted once of charges. But he's a former agency employee who claimed deep ties to the Arizona program. There's also potential NCAA fallout from the recent felony plea of that former assistant coach I mentioned, Emmanuel Book Richardson. But there's nearly a dozen schools expected to face some degree of NCAA scrutiny in the wake of this federal basketball investigation. Miller and Arizona are dealing with the confluence of complications that cast a shroud over his future there, man. It's nowhere do I see Kansas mentioned yet. That's the one that really sticks out to me.
For me, the Arizona one really sticks out because Indiana, if you recall, they start a series with Arizona next season. So will it be the Arizona that we've seen in the past, or will it be a shell of their former self by the time Indiana gets there?
Well, it might not be Miller and Miller.
That's true.
There's a strong expectation that Miller will be subpoenaed to appear at that trial. And potentially within next month. That's while the season's going. He could be one of many coaches. Because all the coaches who were captured on wiretaps with Dawkins are at risk of subpoenas. Part of the defense's theory is expected to be based on showing Dawkins wasn't bribing coaches, according to his attorney.
Good luck.
His obligation says, my obligation here is to defend my client, not protect coaches who violate it. He's already, Dawkins, like I said, he's already been in trial once back in October. The first of 3 trials tied to the corruption investigation. Another appearance is expected because Dawkins was already found guilty of multiple felonies last October. He faces likely jail time. It's still a mess. Miller and Richardson were in frequent communication with Dawkins, is the thing. I'll be honest with you, I don't know how Miller's made it that long out there.
Just based on all this alone.
Yes, there's just but that's, I don't have a problem with it because DeAndre Francois, that's all I got to mention. You're innocent until proven guilty. Well, he had a claim made against him by a former girlfriend. He is booted from the Florida State football team. She then recants and retracts that statement. Now, does that mean it's not true? No. Does it mean it's true? No. So, that was the coach just wanting to cut ties. Start fresh. Last chance you maybe for DeAndre Francois? Is he going to be handing off to Morgan Ellison? Can you imagine being a community college out in Kansas or wherever the hell that place is now that's got last chance you and have DeAndre Francois your starting quarterback and Morgan Ellison at running back?
Bad.
That would be hilarious. Community college.
It's probably why they welcomed in Last Chance U, know? They saw the success East Mississippi had.
No, they did well. But getting back to the NCAA thing, further complicating matters for Arizona are the recent actions of the NCAA, which in August passed stricter penalties for rule breaking that could apply to Miller in Arizona. Those include longer postseason bans, longer head coach suspensions, and longer employment limitations for coaches and staff. A spree of significant decisions from varying committees of the NCAA, like the Rice Commission, my favorite, involving the federal basketball schedule of Kansas, Miami, and regarding Brian Bowen, Louisville, underscore the seriousness the NCAA is taking regarding the case. Blow it out your ear. They don't do jack. They're doing this because it's been done for them. Kansas was a victim, though. Isn't that the statement that was said? Kansas was a victim. Yeah, they were victimized, all right. That's why Bill Self was thanking him via text message.
Have you seen the uproar about D'Souza being ineligible until, was it 2020? Huge uproar.
What? Where? In Lawrence, Kansas, maybe?
Yeah, Jay Billis has said something on Twitter about it. How it's just criminal that D'Souza can't play and all this. Like, he broke the rules, dude.
He took money.
Right.
Purposely took money. It's not like that kid in Alabama, that girl who played for USA Basketball, her country, and it was a stipend of $800. This is not $25,000 hush or handout money. This was a stipend from the playing for your country. Big difference. Big difference. But yeah, it's you seen the jersey swaps going on all the time now? Yeah. I'm over it.
Why?
Everybody's posing for pictures and doing a jersey swap. Just swap the damn thing.
So you're not over it, you're just over the pictures.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I'm over the posing. Who cares? Hey, I'm gonna give him my jersey. He gonna give me mine. Who cares? There were just two guys up here that I had no damn idea who they were.
I kind of like it.
Well, when it's big stars ending their careers or something, yeah, I get it. These were just two clowns that I have no idea who the hell they were. The Pacers beat the New Orleans last night. How bad is New Orleans without Anthony Davis? Gee whiz. They're 3-10 this season without him, I'll tell you right now. They're 2-6 in the last 8 games. 4 of the 5 starters from Davis's last game are currently out, so that's not helping. Jahlil Okafor averaging 19 points a game.
That's how you know they're down, when Jahlil Okafor is averaging 19 points a game.
But good news for the Pacers. Oh, just saw it. What's the big guy that's for the Bucks? I can't. Without saying
Antetokounmpo.
Antetokounmpo. Without it being written in front of me, I cannot say it.
Just call him Giannis.
Yanni. Just airballed a free throw. But that's Pacers are another team. They're on the snide, man. It's gonna be a rough season for them to finish. That's okay.
Boy.
What's that?
Without our boy.
Without
Different
Victor, yep. Without Vic, it's going to be rough. So, you're going to have to depend on Indiana Hoosiers to bring home some wins, and hopefully they can get something started now after subduing the 7-game losing streak. I'm still in shock of that game I saw. I have not rewatched it yet. I planned on it yesterday. I should have watched it yesterday. But I'm just still in shock on how this team, who the things that they weren't doing to me seemed very simplistic. Effort, trying, boxing out, getting rebounds. All the simple little things they were not doing that I could not understand, they all of a sudden did. At Michigan State, of all places. Without Juwan Morgan. While Romeo was going 2 of 12, of 6 of 18 on the day. Justin Smith was 6 of 17 on the day. They shoot 39%, but yet they beat Michigan State at Michigan State. There's no explanation for it. I mean, Archie talked about it. I mean, I think they talked about it last night on the show. As a matter of fact, I was at the store listening to it on my phone. The very opening line cracked me up. Don Fisher, of course, hosting Archie's show. Don was with us yesterday, but the very first opening line, I'm laughing, and actually, I think he made Archie laugh. I think you have that, Justin.
I do. Yep.
Did you do?
You got to start at the beginning, man.
All right.
You got to. He explains.
About his grandma and all that.
Yeah, when he was a kid.
Which
and I learned something new. Don Fisher has a twin brother.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That's the thing that stuck out to me more than anything. And I'm like, man, I can't wait till I talk to him next week.
All right, here we go.
And fans can call the hotel directly for discounted IU rates at 812-334-3252. Coach Miller has joined us. Archie, I'm going to start the program tonight. I grew up with a twin brother, and we got in trouble all the time. My grandparents, my grandmother especially, and my mom would always come to us and say, "What did you do?" 4 words. And I'm going to ask you the same question tonight. What did you do? Because that was a phenomenal performance on Saturday.
Well, we obviously had a very, very rough stretch. It starts to compound, not only with your quality of play, but your quality of life around you and your players' lives around you, and it becomes very, very difficult to work yourself out of that. But I think one of the most important things that we can do as a group is you only have a second half of the conference season to focus in on. All right, the first half is the first half, and if we're going to be better, then we got to start simple and we got to focus in on a couple things. And for us, the identity and the team defense approach has got to continue to be what we're about. Offensively, we have to be a team committed from this point forward offensively to move the ball, pass the ball, be a team that moves it. And then the third thing is togetherness. Whether it's good or bad, how together are we through good and bad? And, those teams that stick together through all that, who just keep things simple, it's amazing how some good things, can maybe happen. And we got a lot of different contributions the other night. It's evident that Devontae and De'Ron are an important part of what we're doing. They just haven't been a part of it here in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Even De'Ron really, since our Illinois game, has had no chance. But, to get those two back inserted into the lineup. That's two older players, two guys that have some experience in big games. And, we have much more contributions across the board, which, in my opinion, the ball, as you've watched us play, a lot of different guys had opportunities to make really unselfish plays. And clearly a hard-fought battle that our guys were really ready to play. And, for us to be able to come out of there with a win, to me, just starts the back 10 with 1-0. And now we kind of just focus in on Iowa, who's a terrific team as well. So you can only control what you can control. All the other things don't matter. And I thought our guys, really, really, were engaged and bought in. And, it's a credit to them.
That was Archie from Archie Radio last night. But, I heard that and I just started laughing because it's actually true. It's what did you do to get them to play like that? Finally.
Yeah, and he did make Archie laugh in the beginning there, which is fun because you hardly ever hear Archie laughing and having a good time.
It's mesmerizing how things can finally click. Seriously. But if you recall last season, kind of similar thing happened defensively. They looked just awful against, say, Fort Wayne when they were literally lost defensively on assignments. By the end of the season, they had the top defensive efficiency rating in the Big Ten, according to KenPom. So it takes a minute. Now, hopefully, gosh, that's not something that's going to have to happen every year after year. But if that's an indication of what can happen the rest of the season, well, a big turnaround can happen. They won 30% of their Big Ten games in the first half. 3-7, right? Split them down the middle. You got 10 more games. You can reverse that. Go 7-3.
Come on.
That'll put you in the tournament.
For sure.
That definitely will put you in the tournament. So, and the season or the schedule is setting up for them to their advantage. 6 out of 9 games at home, as opposed to 7 of 11 on the road. So, they have the opportunity. They obviously have the abilities for those opportunities. Let's see what they can do with it. How they respond to that game Thursday night against Iowa at home. Huge. It's a must-win. Every game's a must-win. Yeah. Almost every game's a must-win. You're going to have some tough. They're going to have some tough damn games, though. You've got Michigan State coming in there. You've got Purdue coming in there. Those are two of the top 2 teams.
See what the Assembly Hall fans can do the rest of the year.
They better be with them.
They can make the difference.
Absolutely. Hey, we've got a lot coming up on the program today, as I said. Chronic Hoosiers going to be along later on. Mike Schumann as well. Plenty to talk about. Get your questions in if you've got any comments, quotes. Text line's 812-269-6367. You can also like and follow us on Facebook. Follow the show on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and, of course, thedailyhoosier.com. We're back with more right after this. This is Jim Boyle, and I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers. You can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality
this league is, and there may be games that there are blowouts, but then that team that got blown out comes back the next week and surprises somebody. It's that kind of league. It's that kind of tough. The Big Ten, without I'm not an expert, but in my opinion, there is no league in the country that matches the Big Ten in any way, shape, or form as far as toughness from top to bottom is concerned. Maybe we don't have the one team or the two teams, although I think we've got three right now that are pretty doggone good at the top of the standings in Michigan, Michigan State, and Purdue. Those three teams are playing phenomenal, and they're tied for the lead right now. So it's going to be interesting. It really is, and it's going to be a lot of fun if this team plays like they did against Michigan State on Saturday the rest of the year.
Absolutely. Then tonight at 7 Eastern Time, you're back with Coach Archie Miller with the Coaches Show tonight, coming from the Holiday Inn up there in Bloomington.
Yep, we don't have any misses now for the rest of the season. Through regular season play, we will have a show on every Monday night, and of course, it's 7:05 at the Holiday Inn in Bloomington. And if you want to make the drive up from New Albany or Jeffersonville, you can come on up. It's only about, an hour and 45 minutes?
That's it. Head on up and check out Don and Coach Archie Miller. But, yeah, you can do that during the taping. They have a live audience there, so they'd certainly welcome you in there.
Yep, we would do that. Next week, this week is fine in that regard. Next week, all seats are reserved for IU Sports Properties people, that they bring all the sponsors in to see the show, and so it'll be a packed house for that one. There won't be any seats available, but without question, the rest of the year and tonight as well, you can make the show.
And then, of course, this Thursday, the Iowa Hawkeyes come in. Indiana's got a late game. It's a 9 o'clock game, so Don and the crew will be on the air at 8 o'clock Eastern time, so make sure you catch them on both times. Don, I can't thank you enough. Always look forward to talking to you.
Thanks a lot, Jim. Appreciate you having me.
You bet. Don Fisher, the voice of the Indiana Hoosiers, joining us as he does each and every week. Brought to you by Bubba's 33 of Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, and beer. Great place to have food. Man, we watched the game there with Todd Leary and did the post-game show Saturday. What a great crowd.
A lot of fun.
Oh, it was
standing room only for majority of the game.
It was outstanding. Fun time, and look forward to doing that again. But I could eat right now some Bubba's. I'm starving. I didn't eat breakfast today. But we've got a lot more coming up on the show here today as Chronic Hoosier will be along. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier will be along. We got plenty to get to. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle's back right after this.
Have a nice day. Have a nice day.
This is Jim Coyle, but I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers. You can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug. Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat.
Second shot on its way, rattles around, sits on the rim, and comes out. 10 seconds to go. Wisdom with the basketball. Drives it left, all the way to the hole. Blow, now he missed it. Deron Davis got the rebound, and he's fouled again. And Indiana's got a chance. They're going to win it. 3.4 seconds to go, and it'll be Davis going to the stripe again. So Deron Davis again, with the weight of the world on his shoulders. He eyes, he flies, and he odds! And Deron Davis has made this a 3-point ball game. His 11th point of the contest, and now he can sew it up. No chance if he makes this one for Michigan State. Number 2. Good! Deron Davis hits a boat. Cassius Winston half-court shot. No good. Indiana wins. The Hoosiers have knocked off the number 6 team in the country.
And it was a fun time. Saturday night as Indiana knocks off Michigan State up in East Lansing to get off of the schneid, breaking a 7-game losing streak in the nick of time as they have just enough time yet to salvage this season and make it into the NCAA tournament. If they can keep things turned around, if they can stay healthy. Man, what does a healthy Deron Davis do for you?
Whew.
Holy smokes. And I tell you, he's one that I promise he comes to play. He wants to play. He's you ain't got to fire him up. If he can get in there, if he's healthy, he can get in there. You ain't got to fire him up. I promise you, he likes it.
Well, that much was evident when he was going down low and banging with Nick Ward. There's not many guys in the Big Ten that'll be willing to do that. But
man, he did the same thing last year with Marvin Bagley, dude. I'm telling you, if you can get him healthy, he likes the action. And he's one of the more mature players on the court.
Yeah.
He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. I mean, he's only hindered through health. Other than that, he would have been a good player for Indiana. But, yeah, you got to – man, I like Deron. And God bless his heart last year, and he just couldn't hit a free throw to save his damn life. No. And his freshman season, he was money in crunch time. That's one of the things that stood out to me most about him. But then again, he hit some big crunchers up in East Lansing.
Yeah.
Big-time free throws to seal that game away. And he looked a lot more confident doing it. Even the one he missed was, I think, rattled in and out.
Yeah. Sat on the rim for a while.
Yep.
That was funny. That was probably my favorite experience from being at Bubba's on Saturday. Those 2 free throws. Not his last 2, but the 2 before that. How the one rolled around the rim. Oh. Everybody's, oh, then they cheer. And then the second one is saying, oh.
That thing did everything but stay but come out. That first one did everything but come out. Oh, my God.
Well, and the second one was the exact same. It just didn't go in.
It did go in. It did everything but stay in. But, yeah, it was a great, great time at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville over the weekend. We did the post-game show with Todd Leary. Make sure you keep up with that because we got more coming. We're not doing one Thursday because the game's at 9 o'clock. Hence, it won't get over till after 11. Wouldn't get on the air until after 11:30.
Wouldn't get home till 4.
Yeah, that's so. But we'll be back at it on Sunday. But, of course, what we're going to do is Friday. I think we may do a double segment with Todd Friday and kind of turn it into a quasi post-game show since it'll be not too far after the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only going to be about 6 hours, six and a half hours after the game has cleared. So we won't be too far behind, really. But then we'll be back at it on Sunday when Indiana hosts the Ohio State Buckeyes at the Simon Scott Assembly Hall. Another big game for Indiana. Yeah, that would be amazing. They can go from a 7-game losing streak to a 7-game winning streak.
Yep.
Who knows? I mean, they can. They can win out. I'm not saying they're going to, but they can. They can beat Michigan State. Yeah. They did it at Michigan State, so therefore they can beat them again at home, but it's going to take a hell of an effort.
I really think the crowd from here on out for the rest of the season at Assembly Hall is going to be pivotal for this team. I mean, if the crowd shows out and you've got number 20 Iowa coming in on Thursday, they come in with some energy. It's a 9 o'clock game that gives you plenty of time to have adult beverages. If they're loud, same thing with Sunday against Ohio State, they're the difference for this team. And if they continue to be loud, and I mean, we haven't seen the greatest of Indiana Nation so far this season at Assembly Hall, but if they can do what they've done in the past, I really like this team's odds.
I agree. I think that they need to be there. They just need to focus on one thing. They need to focus on being what they need to be as the best crowd. Let the team focus on being what they need to be. Everybody needs to do their job.
Be loud as hell.
Just be loud, and be proud. And I think good things could happen. Especially, I've used the phrase, a season on the brink or a season on the poison. It was. This has been and it's not that they're out of the woods. This gives them the opportunity. They have a path. They have a clear path to viability here. They have a path to postseason play here. They have the opportunity. They have the ability. We've seen that. It's up to them now, what they do going forth. Now, hopefully staying healthy is a big part of that. Obviously, you see what happens. Mike Schumann, as a matter of fact, a good point yesterday. Indiana has lost one game, and that's to Duke, when Deron Davis and Devontae Green played 5 minutes or more in the same game. That is a telling sign on injuries and not having guys. That's just those two, but they've lost one game, and that was to Duke on the road when those guys are playing. When you've got the players, it's a hell of a lot easier to play. They have been without guys all year. 8 players have missed a game with injury. Many have missed many more. Race Thompson hasn't seen the floor, basically. Jerome Hunter never saw the floor. You lost Finney. Now he's struggling a bit, going through hitting the freshman wall a little bit. Thank goodness the guys picked him up. But opportunity's there, a clear and present path to viability for this season. Unbelievably, not many teams can after a 7-game losing streak in the heart of the season, not many teams can rebound from that. This one can because they've done enough good things, and they've done some good things. Win over Marquette, 23-point win over Marquette, a team that's in the top 10. That's looming pretty large right now. A win over a top 15 Louisville team that went on the road and beat North Carolina by 20. That's looming large right now. And, of course, a win at Michigan State, who was ranked 6th or 5th, depending on what poll you looked at. But to me, it's a top 5. They were a top 5 team. That's looming pretty large. Now, you just need to add some things. Now, of course, you've got to play Purdue yet. You've got to play Michigan State again. You've got to play Wisconsin. So, not only do they have opportunity to win games, they've got opportunities to win good games. Resume builders. Quad 1 wins again. You beat a Michigan State, there's another Quad 1 win. You beat Purdue, there's another Quad 1 win. And they've got their resume is going to be good enough if they just take care of business on the way out of town by end of the season. Is what I mean. But they take care of business, they're going to be fine. They'll make the tournament.
Still got to go to Iowa as well, so that'll be a tough one.
That
and the barn.
Both will be difficult, very, very difficult.
But I mean, when you break down this schedule and you look at what's left for Indiana. Like we've talked about many times, it's very, very friendly when it comes to what they're going to have to face. They've got to go to Iowa and Minnesota, like I mentioned, and then Illinois.
Well,
that's it. That's your only road
I don't know if I call it very friendly since it's in the Big Ten.
Somewhat friendly.
But it's a lot more doable. Yeah. It's a lot more user-friendly than the first half was. You are absolutely correct in that manner because 7-11 on the road. And it came at a time where they were just beat to hell. Injuries abound. And they were struggling with a lot of things. Confidence, abilities not coming together. Hopefully things have gelled now. They damn sure look good. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Make sure you like or follow us on Facebook. You can find the show, if you don't catch us live, on the Big X, WXVW, 1450 96.1, or The Ref. 97.7 in Evansville. You can like or follow us on Facebook to keep up with us. You can find the show rebroadcast on Apple Play, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Google Play, thedailyhoosier.com. And make sure you follow me on Twitter, @JimCoyleISB. Keep up with everything. We'll keep you apprised of what's going down. But I'm confident they can do the things they need to do to finish this game strong. Jokers suggest that get Todd in studio Friday. It would be good.
Not a bad idea.
Oh, that probably happens in the future quite a bit. Just not at the moment.
Yeah, it'd save him some drive time. He won't have to go all the way down south. Stop in here.
South?
Southwest.
Oh. Going there from where? He's not like he's driving through. But no, that will happen at some point. But it's a good suggestion. But we've thought about that. Logistics, man, logistics. But yeah, we're going to do it. We'll do an extended little post-game show Friday morning and a little preview for Sunday. Iowa's always been a team that it's kind of funny. They have been the salve, but they've also been the oil in the water. They have been the team that Indiana has needed to break streaks before, but yet I was also there in the 90s when they had won like 60 straight games at Assembly Hall, and they lost, I think, 61-60. I don't know why I remember that score, but I do. They lost to Iowa 61-60, and our buddy Todd was on that team. I guarantee you it was not a pleasurable experience for those guys in the locker room afterwards. I've heard that story many times.
Is Iowa the most inconsistently consistent Big Ten team in terms of down year, up year, down year, up year? But there's always those years where they can beat anybody or they can lose to anybody.
No, I would put Illinois there instead.
Yeah, but Illinois doesn't really get those big time wins.
Bullcrap. They've went to the Final Four
almost 20 years ago.
When's Iowa been there?
That's true.
When's Purdue been there? Purdue hasn't been to a Final Four since 19. You win a game here now and then, but that's it. You're not going to the Sweet 16 every year. You're not making the Elite Eight. And, of course, you never make a Final Four or even dream of a national championship. Would you like to be that or a team that, say, like Indiana, that's gone through some struggles because of bad hires, but along the way they've amassed 8 Final Fours, 5 national championships, and are still a blue blood program and still the program that people want to see, which would you rather be?
So would I rather be Indiana or Purdue?
Pretty much. Pretty much.
That seems rhetorical.
I like winning championships. Being a champion.
Ain't seen one of them forever.
No.
Not in my lifetime.
But seeing them, that's another thing that cracked me up. Someone like a different school. Well, how long's it been since you? Well, more recently than you. That's all you got to say. A hell of a lot more recently than you. Because you got 0. But they got to get back to that level. That's what people want, and that's what I think that the recent rash of social media explosion doesn't have as much to do with Indiana as society, ridiculous society, people that have big mouths, that saying things like I keep comparing it to road rage. It's a perfect example. Road rage is the example because people that like if you pull in front of somebody, they start flashing you, giving you the finger. What? Really? Now, if you're in a line at a store and you inadvertently cut across somebody, do you think they're going to stand there and flip you off and, man, what the hell you doing? No. It's that false courage. They're sitting behind a computer with a keyboard in front of them. They run their mouth. Half of them don't know what the hell they're talking about. Most of them. But got to chill. And this is why you have to chill.
Well, if you've noticed on social media the past couple of days, Indiana fans are a lot more calm now after that Michigan
Well, I
State
guess
win.
so. But that's crap.
Yeah.
That's crap.
A lot more calm.
That's why I kept saying, do you think Archie forgot how to coach? No. I mean, there are some things that I didn't like that I saw that were questioned, but, man, people just were ridiculously stupid. Unbelievable. We got to take a break. We got a lot more coming up in the next hour. Chronic Hoosier's going to be with us. Mike Schumann's going to be with us. Plenty to get to. Some text. Joker's got a text in. We'll get to that as well. All that and more coming up on Indiana Sports People. Jim Coyle right after this.
Superstition ain't the way.
This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat.
We're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Hey, welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Thanks a lot for joining us here on this 5th day of February. Thanks a lot for joining us, Justin Kalen, high atop the crew chief's box as always.
That's right.
Plenty to get to on the show today. Chronic Hoosier will be along. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier will be with us as well. Lots to talk about. Indiana basketball, huge win this past weekend. They've got to sustain that with another one back at home Thursday night. Before we get to all that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this 5th day of February 2019. New AP Top 25 college basketball poll is out as the top 4 remain the same with Tennessee, Duke, Virginia, and Gonzaga. Indiana's next opponent on Thursday, Iowa, is back in the top 25 at number 20. In Big Ten action last night, Penn State gets their first conference win, 59-52 at Northwestern. And 4-star 2019 defensive tackle Christian Williams decommits from Minnesota, and Indiana is among his top destinations. Those are your Daily Hoosier headlines for this February 5th, 2019. For more information, go to thedailyhoosier.com.
Hey, lots to get to. Indiana's next ball game Thursday night at home at Simon Scott Assembly Hall against the Iowa Hawkeyes. As hopefully they can keep this one-game winning streak alive after losing 7 in a row. Thanks a lot for joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat. Hope your day's going great. Chronic Hoosier will be along. You can hit us up on the text line anytime you wish. Comments, questions. If we don't get to them today, we'll get to them tomorrow. But that number is 812-269-6367. You can also follow me on Twitter, at Jim Coyle, ISB. Like or follow the show on Facebook, Indiana Sports Beat. You can find a rebroadcast if you can't catch us live on air. We're on iTunes, Google Play, Google Podcast, Apple Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and at thedailyhoosier.com, of course.
Ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous. Absolutely. Archie Radio was live last night. Kind of comical at times. Don Fisher opened the show with a pretty funny line. It had me laughing. I was walking through the store listening to this, and I thought it was kind of comical. I heard Justin just cackling all morning listening to it.
Archie Miller, we're with you until 8 o'clock tonight, and we're here at the Holiday Inn in Bloomington, and Inside IU Basketball, of course, is here each Monday night. Remember to stop by the Holiday Inn to eat here at the new Burger Theory restaurant, and fans can call the hotel directly for discounted IU rates at 812-334-3252. Coach Miller has joined us. Archie, I'm going to start the program tonight. I grew up with a twin brother, and we got in trouble all the time. My grandparents, my grandmother especially, and my mom would always come to us and say, "What did you do?" 4 words. And I'm going to ask you the same question tonight. What did you do?
That was Don Fisher opening up the Archie Radio last night, and I thought it was hilarious. It is. What did you do with the team that we had seen for the last 7 games? Replace them, obviously, with one that got the job done in a big, big way Saturday night. Huge win. And I don't want to just harp on it all day long, but that's a big win. That's the biggest win on the road for Indiana since 1982. That's huge, folks.
Big win.
It's only the 3rd time in 30 years they've won in East Lansing. And this is a team that was on a 7-game losing streak who lost their best player on the team in the first half of the game. You didn't have your point guard, basically, because he was in and out with foul trouble, only playing 18 minutes, putting up 1 shot, giving you nothing. No points, no assists. And Romeo was struggling at 2 of 12 at one time and finished the game 6 of 18, and Justin Smith 6 of 17. They shoot 39%, but yet they beat Michigan State. Resilience. They didn't stop. Things weren't always going perfectly, but they kept trying. That was the difference in this game. They kept working. They out-rebounded Michigan State. They out-tried them. They outshot them at the free throw line, that's for damn sure, luckily. But that was all try. And it was all try by a lot of guys that you haven't gotten that effort from this year. Justin Smith, a double-double, 13 and 10. Deron Davis. I don't know anybody was even bigger than Deron Davis coming in and playing 25 minutes when I didn't even expect him to play. I thought he was parked for another couple of weeks. You got Race Thompson, who's been struggling all year long with a head injury. He finally gets cleared to play, and then he catches the flu, of all things. Unbelievable. But wow, what an effort put forth last Saturday night. Rewarded with a big, big win. Nice resume builder because they've already got a couple on that resume. Now all they have to do is take care of business the rest of the season. Take care of business. You've got 6 of 9 games at home. Win those games. Win those games. Now you have to go on the road and steal one of those 3 games that are not on. You've got to steal a road game. You've got to go to You've got to go beat Illinois. I'm sorry, but you have to beat Illinois. You cannot lose to Illinois. You've already lost to Rutgers. You can't give. And it's not that Rutgers was terrible. They beat Michigan State at home. They've played okay. The Big Ten is just tough. But sorry, you've got to do it. If you want to play in the postseason, you got to win that 7th game. That means you have to win a game on the road. That'll show a lot. That'll show that they have really grown and matured. They can definitely still make the NCAA tournament. No doubt to me. If they take care of business. Hit us up on the text line, 812-269-6367. Coach, comments, questions? Crownie Cougar on the program later. Mike Schumann as well. We'll talk to both of those guys. I'm looking forward to it.
You talked about Juwan Morgan going down in that game on Saturday. I know a lot of people have been concerned about Juwan Morgan and his availability going forward. Archie actually touched on Juwan Morgan last night, and then after he talks about Juwan, he talks about Al Durham. That's where some more of the comedy comes in, and you can just see a little more of Archie's personality after a win, which it's been nice this week.
At this point.
He probably dodged a bullet. I think more than anything, Juwan, there's some concern there because he had shoulder injuries, and a shoulder that went out quite a bit, that then it was repaired. And I think more than anything, when he was on the ground and it was extended, behind his head, the bodies that were landing on him obviously hyper-extended or stretched him. And I think, 1, in pain, and then 2, probably a lot of scared in him, just like, oh, not again. But kind of knew when he got back to the bench in the second half, he was feeling a little bit better. I knew he wasn't available to play the rest of the game, and had treatments and whatnot yesterday and participated in our workout today. I don't think he's 100%, but by hopefully by the end of the week, he's feeling a little bit better without any setbacks.
And then Al, I think, had a dislocated finger or thumb.
He had a dislocated finger. I didn't see his finger when he was coming off, but when he was coming off, he was holding his hand, and he said, "It's broken, it's broken, it's broken." I'm like, "Oh, geez, here we go." And then I see him come running back up to the table. I guess it's not broken. So he's, but Al had a little sense of the dramatic there when that finger popped out. I think he thought he lost his hand for a minute. They popped it back in, and to his credit, taped it up, went in, made some big plays for us.
Yeah.
And, Archie, hey, I got to give it to Al. Hey, I know how painful that is, and it is painful as hell. He was over on the bench getting that thing popped back into place. Tim Garl, the team trainer, and you can see that Al is in pain, man. His head's throwing back. He's yelling, "Al!" And I think it was Jerome Hunter was sitting to his right, and he was having a conversation with someone to his right. But the noise, obviously, he could hear it, and so he turns to the left, like, "What's going on here?" Then you see him look down at that finger, and you can see the expression on his face, like, "Oh." So yeah, it was not just that simple. Al, you got to take your hat off to Al Durham, man. He dislocates his finger, comes back in. I believe he hit some free throws after that, but that's a want to, and that's what you got to have right there. That's like, here, pop is all right. Let's get it popped back in place and let's go. Luckily, it was on his left hand, his non-shooting hand.
I've got to go back and watch that.
Oh, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. But again, got to. I was talking earlier about making an analogy of who would you rather be? Would you rather be a team that's kind of consistent? They win most of the years. They're going to have a winning season, and they're going to make the tournament more times than not. But they're not going to do much. They're going to win a game here and there, and or would you rather be a team that, while it has had some downs, has had the ups are way up? Like Indiana, for example, has been to 8 Final Fours and won 5 national championships. It's been a while since they've won a national championship, but they've still been relevant. They've been to the championship game in the 2000s. They have been number 1 in the 2000s. They've been ranked number 1 in the 2000 teens. So this is obviously a program that has had some downs, but people were commenting and kind of guessed. Yeah, it's kind of like say Purdue versus IU, and Johnny B. Just simply says Purdue sucks, and Joker Purdue's just dreams of being IU, and there is that. That's why that their chance in with IU, talking about IU, but just a little example I was making.
You got to think though with Indiana that the downs have been way down. Yeah, the ups have been way up, but the downs have been way down.
Well, that's because when your highs are so high, you don't have to go as low as for them to seem that way.
Sure,
but I think they've got it. It's in the right direction right now.
Yeah.
Definitely headed in the right direction.
That I would agree with.
Bill texts in, with the 6 home games, win the 6 home games, put you at 10-10 in conference, and I think gets you in the tourney. That gives you 2 wins over Michigan State and a win over Purdue. There's no doubt to me. They don't have to win. I think they could actually probably go 9-11 in the conference and make it in. Normally that would probably cost you, but this is not. This is the toughest conference in the country, the Big Ten, and the toughest year they've had in 15 years probably. As deep and as tough as they are, and the country knows that. When you see as many teams that have been ranked out of the Big Ten, it's just an unbelievable tough season. So 9-11 would get you in. But they got to take care of business, no doubt, to get into the tournament. But they have that opportunity, and it's going to be up to them to do that.
Yeah.
And I think that they can. Hopefully they can maintain that. Juwan Morgan not expected to miss any games. Everyone's concerned with that shoulder injury, being that you heard Archie talking about it. He'd had prior injuries, had surgery on it before. But I think he's going to be fine. I think it was the fact that they couldn't check it. They couldn't run an MRI, so they didn't know if anything was hurt, so he couldn't play because of that. That's probably, other than that, he probably could have come back in the other night. But I think that it ultimately serves Indiana better because you got guys stood up and made plays that have not this year. And they got that opportunity, and they came through. And I think that confidence that they've gained is going to serve this team so much better than had Juwan Morgan been in there doing that. Now you've got all kinds of guys involved, which is what this team needed all along, is to get other guys involved. And they've got that now, hopefully, and they can build on that. They have to. They're going to have to build on that to continue to go forward. But we've got a lot coming up on the program today, like I said. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier will be with us later. But coming up next, fan favorite, Chronic Hoosier. He's coming. We'll be back with more Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle right after this. This is Jim Coyle, and I'm out on the road covering the Hoosiers. You can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
All my friends know the low rider.
I get so excited when I hear that song because you know it only means one thing. Chronic Hoosier's with us. Chronic, how are you, my friend?
Oh, man, I'll tell you what. The sun's a little brighter. The coffee's a little hotter. It is a markedly improved week from the last time we talked.
My, oh, my. As I watched that, actually before I watched that game, I was with Todd Leary. We were doing the post-game show afterwards, but we were at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, and before, somebody was sitting next to me. They were just enjoying a nice beverage and a meal and asked me, does Indiana get a chance in this game? And I'm like, not a snowball's chance in hell. And that's how I truly felt from what I had seen in the 7 games prior to this. And man, oh man, was I ever glad to be as wrong as I could be. But my gosh, what an effort, what a game. And I've talked ad nauseum about everything to do with it, the fact that they had lost those 7 games, that they lost Juwan Morgan, that they basically didn't have Rob Finney, and they're in a place they'd only won twice in 30 years. it's still, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that unbelievably improbable, miraculously beautiful win.
I was doing some research earlier. I think there's a total of 28 games, at least in the database, going back to 1995, where Indiana's been an underdog by at least 14 points. Coming into that game, they'd won 0 of those games. You have to go back to 2010 to find Indiana win a game in which they were at least a double-digit dog versus Penn State. But this is probably the most improbable win I can think of. Not just in the aggregate of the point total and the spread and everything else, but when you look at just what type of a shape, what position the Hoosiers came into this game, finding themselves in. Michigan State, I don't think you can understate, how unlikely it is for them to lose a home game, having just dropped the matchup they had at Purdue. It just improbable in every sense of the word. I mean, honestly. And I'll say this much too, man. It's kind of a perfect storm of scenarios for this one to come out victorious. Indiana had to do a number of things right. I think probably the greatest of which is they just hit some dang shots. I mean, quite honestly, the ability to knock down the 3-point shot completely changes the effectiveness of this offense right now. But when you take it into context of, like you said, losing Juwan Morgan after playing only 13 minutes, basically, the Rob Tennessee, what limited minutes he gave us was just effectively a wash as well. Just unbelievable how much this team had to step up across the line. And, I think it bears mentioning, too, it also required a pretty good stroke of luck for Michigan State to do a lot of things poorly. Credit to the Hoosiers for pulling that one out. Michigan State shoots anywhere close to their free throw percentage, particularly with Nick Ward. Different outcome, I think. But, man, take them how you can get them. Any game in the Big Ten on the road, obviously, is going to be one that you cherish. But to win that game in that fashion, I'd have bet the mortgage after Romeo missed on that final shot of regulation, which was still kind of a head-scratcher. But obviously no harm, no foul. But I'd have bet the mortgage after that shot missed wildly that Michigan State was going to rally in overtime. You felt like there was no way this team had enough left in the tank, considering what they had left on the floor at that time. Just a huge testament to the team, to the coaching staff. Their level of engagement from whistle to whistle was really something that I don't think we've seen since the Marquette game. Probably a high point from an energy and execution standpoint in the Archie Miller era, honestly.
Yeah, it blows my mind that Indiana did so many of the things that they had seemed incapable of doing leading up to this point. Mainly, that was getting production from people not named Romeo or Juwan, which they got a lot of. They had 5 players in double figures. The bench points were huge. They had more bench points this game than they probably had in the last 10 games combined.
I think at least 3. It's been it was a sight for sore eyes. I'll tell you what, I saw a lot of nonsense in my timeline over the last couple of weeks about Deron Davis's contribution to this team, and I'll tell you what, he was a man. He was an absolute man in the literal and figurative sense.
None bigger.
One thing that he brings to this team, his strength, particularly from his buttocks down,
I'm telling you,
is unrivaled in Indiana. I don't think there's anybody, Nick Ward is a beast in a double-team situation. I don't know that Indiana has anybody even remotely close of handling him one-on-one. To see the way in which Deron could not only hold position against him, but do so without fouling. And I know that's something Deron has battled for a good portion of his career at Indiana. But, when you put it in the context of him coming off of, a string of injuries like he has, just an absolute beast of a performance and being able to hold Michigan State's bigs, to account when they dropped it down low, especially after Juwan went out. I don't know that you can put enough importance on the job he did, and not the least of which was just his ability to stay on the floor on the road. That is such an easy environment to find yourself in early foul trouble, especially when you've got an offense that's going to bring it at you, and they did quite a bit. So huge kudos to Deron, and as we're handing out the praise. Devontae Green, man, not knowing where exactly his head was going to be coming back from the 3-game suspension, This is one of those where, we've said it before, Devontae is best when he's playing on a razor's edge. And when you're that type of player, we've made the analogy, it's like Troy Williams. It's so easy to lose control when the line is so incredibly fine between where the energy has to be versus where it's out of control. And, Devontae, particularly from the three-point line, that's a tough game to win without Devontae's contribution from deep.
Oh, absolutely. Both of those guys. Deron Davis, first of all, plays 25 minutes. I didn't think we were going to see him at all because I thought he was parked, still trying to get healthy. They brought him back a little too soon, admittedly, Coach Miller said. And I didn't think he was going to even play, but to not only to play, but to play 25 minutes with that production he brought it. And he's one of the most confident guys on the team because they had lost all that confidence. I think Deron's one of those guys that hadn't. He's like, just give me the opportunity. And I think you saw what you can get from him. It's like last year. He played against Marvin Bagley III when Duke came in. He battled that guy toe-to-toe, and so he's got the capabilities. It just having this team be healthy. Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier put out a telling stat that Indiana's lost one game this year, and that's at Duke, where Devontae and Deron both play 5 minutes or more. They've only lost one time. That shows you that not having the pieces in place kind of really handcuffs you when you and having 8 guys who have missed games because of injury this year. It makes all the difference in the world, and you're making all the perfect points. But these guys were not been available, and it shows what this team is capable of if they can get them back and keep them back.
Oh, those guys are 40% of your upperclassmen. I mean, including McRoberts in this, even though he's a walk-on. Obviously, he's a pretty big contributor when he's healthy to this team. I don't know that you can overstate how important the leadership on this team is from the upperclassmen. We talked about it last week. There's been a pretty significant void of leadership. Basically the entire role of leading this team was heaped on Juwan's shoulders, and we've talked ad nauseum about how important it is for other guys to step up. And nobody's in a better position to do that than some of the team's upperclassmen. And, to see Devontae come off the suspension, to see Deron come off the injury, they led by example. They absolutely led by example, and I think you saw it resonate. Credit to the staff as well. For a team that's come out and just struggled like nothing I've ever seen out of the gates. These guys were locked in. They were engaged on both ends of the floor. You look at the connectivity of the team. The way in which they were really crisp in their rotations on defense. I think what stood out to me as well, I believe he had 23 assists. No, I'm sorry, that was Michigan State. Hoosiers assisted on 21 baskets, if I'm not mistaken, out of 28 made baskets. So the ball was moving. Archie praised him in his post-game press conference, sometimes making that extra pass. Just what a difference it makes. But at the end of the day, too, man, none of those passes really matter unless you're putting it in the basket. And, the confidence they demonstrated, and you could see it in the way they were stroking the ball. They believed in themselves for the first time, probably since the first half of the Maryland game, at least outwardly visible. You could tell this was a team that not only believed in themselves, but came into the game prepared for a rock fight. Credit to Arch for getting them to engage in that, because I didn't think the team was capable of, to be honest with you.
No, you made a great point. The assist to baskets, 21 on 28 shots, that has not been the case for Indiana much very often this year. And to see the ball game distributed by Romeo had 4 assists, Devontae Green had 5 assists, and our boy Deron Davis had 4 assists. So again, his presence showing up in so many different areas, but they were much more team-oriented against Michigan State. They going into that game, talking with Todd, we do a lot of the post-game stuff. He just said that this team didn't look like they were having fun together, and that to me, and that was true to me up until that game against Michigan State. They looked very in concert and linked in. I mean, guys were looking for other guys, whether it was Devontae or Romeo, finding other people or doing what they needed to do. They looked like a team for maybe the first time in a long time this year.
Unquestionably. And I think, obviously this is a pretty big win for Indiana. What they do with it from here, though, going forward, with Iowa coming in, they've got to sustain it. As you mentioned before I jumped on with you guys, we've got, I believe, 6 home games remaining. The next one coming, obviously, back at Assembly Hall this Thursday against Iowa. the way in which they're going to build upon that momentum to carry it into this home stretch here, where they've got 3 of the next 4 at home before they have to go back on the road to Iowa. Not the least of which culminating with the Purdue game. But there's, even though we've talked about the schedule kind of lightens up a little bit on the back half, it's still an incredibly difficult Big Ten. Just looking at Iowa, Ohio State, Minnesota, and Purdue. I mean, in any conference in America right now, that's a tough stretch, no matter where you're playing those games. And Indiana currently finds themselves tied for 9th in the conference right now, in a tie with Rutgers. I think the big thing, especially when you're dealing with the young team right now, is not let them get too high. No differently than it's important for a coach not to let them get too low after losses, particularly when you're coming out of the back end of that stretch. I think it's going to be important for them to remember what it was that enabled them to pull off this upset at East Lansing, and find some way that you can build upon that. Obviously you're probably not going to have. Hopefully, you're not going to have sustained stretches without Juwan. One thing you guys were talking about before I jumped on as well, when it talks about Al Durham's injury. I don't know if you guys saw Cliff Marshall's face when he sat down on the bench next to him.
No, I saw Jerome Hunter's, though.
Oh, my God. If I had to bet, I would have thought it was a compound fracture. I've seen those in my life, and there's few injuries that draw that visceral, that physical of a reaction.
Oh, I was laughing.
So hopefully that doesn't affect his play too terribly much. I think it's a testament to how tough that kid is, though, that he was able to come back in the game. Now, again, though, let's see what they can do, what they can build off of this, because it's really easy. Momentum is a fickle thing, and you can lose it just as easy as you can gain it. And IU, they have to continue to play with that urgency. I think that was one of the things that perhaps propelled them a little bit at Michigan State, was knowing exactly how dire it was. I'm sure those guys were tired of hearing, idiots like you and me talk about it. They've got to keep that fire in their belly, because you let up for a second and things can still continue to spiral on you. So obviously you want to have a short-term memory, but you want to keep connected with the things they did well, not the least of which, though, I think was everybody's work rate. This was as good as I've seen them move with the ball, move off the ball. They were as defensively keyed in as we've seen perhaps since the Marquette game. That's obviously going to be the key for a team like Indiana going forward, is no matter whether or not the shots are falling. Because let's be honest, there's going to be far and few nights in between where this team's going to shoot 50% from deep. But I think the lesson here is when they stay engaged on the defensive end throughout the course of the game, not just for stretches of 10 minutes at a time, but throughout the game, they're going to find themselves in position to win late.
Absolutely, and without that three-point shooting, they don't win this game. And Michigan State helped by missing a lot of free throws, but their two-point shooting was horrific, to be honest with you. They shot 39%, but because they were able to knock down some threes, and they were hitting their own free throws while Michigan State was not, they did what they needed to do and provided the defensive effort like you talked about. But those are things they're going to have to do. They're going to have to continue to hit that three ball, man. I'm not saying they got to hit 15 a game, but they've got to hit better than 3 or 4 of 20. They cannot be shooting 18, 19, 20% out there and expect to win games. But there can't be anything more critical than what you've said about how they go forward. I've talked about that a lot. They've got to win this game at home against Iowa, because if they don't, then that win against Michigan State, it's all for nothing. You've got to maintain it, got to do what you got to do. You got to take care of business. They've got a clear and present path to sustainability and the NCAA tournament in my mind. You've got 6 out of 9 games at home. I think that if they're 9-11 or 10-10 in the Big Ten, there's no question they're in the NCAA tournament, especially with the Big Ten being the way it is this year.
Oh no, I mean, a lot of folks. I think early season returns were quick to discount the Marquette win, quick to discount the Louisville win. Butler doesn't shine as bright as it did previously, but I'll tell you what, you look at the combination of Marquette, Louisville, and now you throw up a road win at Michigan State.
Huge.
That's something the selection committee is going to be hard-pressed not to put a lot of value in.
Yeah, because if they win more games, then if they win more, that means they would have beaten Purdue. You got to play Michigan State again. You got to play Wisconsin. So not only do they have opportunities for wins, they got opportunities for quality wins.
There's a ton of resume wins available to them. I mean, honestly, everything pretty much but the Illinois, the Rutgers game, perhaps Minnesota. We'll see where they finish up. That's borderline looking like it could be a top 50 win at the end of the season as well. It's certainly on the table for them. You know, we talk about Europe. It's not just your opinion. Most bracketologists have us back on the right side of the bubble right now. It's their destiny's in their hands at this point, though. They've just got to protect the home court. Obviously, if they can steal one on the road, that one out of Illinois, more than anything, you look at the recency bias of the selection committee. I don't know that that's going to heavily tip the scales, but that's certainly a late opportunity in their last road game to really bolster that resume heading into the Big Ten tournament.
Couldn't agree more with you. Chronic Hoosier, we're so thankful to have you each and every week, man. Look forward to it.
Happy not to be pulling my hair out this week. We'll get to that then.
We'll look forward to it again. Have a good Thursday as the Indiana Hoosiers take on Iowa, and we'll talk to you again next week, Chronic. Thank you, sir. All right, that was Chronic Hoosier. We got a lot more coming up here on the program. Mike Schumann will be with us in the next segment, so stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle back right after this.
To the teacher rap just ain't my bag. Noon bells ring, you know that's my cue. I'm gonna meet the boys on floor number 2. Smoking in the boys' room.
This is Jim Coyle, and I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers. You can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get
Today's
your day
guest
off
is
to a
brought
good
to you by
start,
Bubba's
stop at
33
Billy
in
Joe's
Clarksville.
Gas and Food
With
Mart on
hand-tossed
Highway
pizzas,
150
bold
in
burgers,
Poison
and
Up.
ice-cold
While you're filling
beer.
your gas tank,
Pizza,
you can fill your
burger,
own tank
beer.
with a hot breakfast
Bubba's
or try
33
one of
in
Billy
Clarksville.
Joe's daily lunch special.
Drives
Billy
it
Joe's
left,
Gas
all the
and
way to
Food
the
Mart
hole.
opens at 5
Whoa, now
a.m.
he missed it.
Everything is made
Ron
fresh
Davis
daily.
got the rebound and he's fouled again. And Indiana's got a chance. They're going to win it. 3.4 seconds to go, and it'll be Davis going to the stripe again. So to Ron Davis again with the weight of the world on his shoulders. He eyes, he flies, and he odds! And Ron Davis has made this a 3-point ball game. His 11th point of the contest, and now he can sew it up. No chance if he makes this one for Michigan State. Number 2. DeRon Davis hits a both. Cassius Winston half-court shot. number 6 team in the country.
Huge win for Indiana over the weekend as they travel to East Lansing, knocking off the 6th-ranked Michigan State Spartans after losing 7 in a row. Joined now by our friend Mike Schumann from the Daily Hoosier. Mike, how are you, brother?
Doing good. You know the keys to my heart with that intro.
Man, I'm still getting over the improbability of that win. It's so funny because it's not like they don't have the ability, obviously, because they did, but how they had played leading up to that thing. I gave them zero chance to win that game, and they made it even more difficult. The degree of difficulty was increased exponentially, and yet still come out of there with a win. It's just one of the most improbable wins Indiana's had in a long time, which makes it even more amazing. But the biggest thing is they've got to continue to play like this. And you had a piece out yesterday that talked about that when Duran and Devontae play more than 5 minutes together, they've only lost once, and that was at Duke. So that really shows the inability of not having these guys for Archie to use, how much it has been made this season even more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people like to say, stop with the injuries. It's just an excuse, but at some point with so many injuries, it's a valid excuse if nothing else. And those two guys in particular, not just because they're upperclassmen, but because of the positions that they play. I mean, you heard on the broadcast Saturday night, even the national guys, Billis and Shulman, talking about, Green providing that second ball handler. I mean, that's a heck of an ask for Rob Phinisee to be handling the ball in the Big Ten pretty much on his own for that team. So having Green do it and specifically step in the way he did on a night when Phinisee was a little bit off, that value was immediately shown. And he's, the second best three-point shooter on the team. A lot of people like to get on Devontae, and it's understandable at times. He's always been inconsistent, but well, he hadn't
seemed locked in to me with the team. As I see a lot of people complain about him as well, so I agree with you there. But I think it's because he had seemed a little too individualistic up till this game. He was seemed like he was doing Devontae's thing. But all that went away up in East Lansing for all of them. They were really in concert together and really looked to play as a team.
Yeah, I mean, it's too early to draw any conclusions about where this team's at, but part of me did think, did that suspension somehow, in some strange way, serve as a rallying cry for this team? Just because, if you listen to the guys, they like Devontae. He's a popular guy on the team, and maybe behind the scenes they found a way to turn that into something to get them focused going forward. But and then Duran, I mean, I still laugh. One of the forgotten aspects of that game that you just reminded everybody of with the highlight there is, if you go back to last year with Duran at the free throw line, I mean, he was shooting air, and more than just that, I mean, just the what he gives to this team from a size perspective. It was the perfect game for him to come back with Michigan State's bigs, and he'll need to do it again against Iowa, which is a very big team as well. It's a similar matchup with Iowa because they like to get out and run in transition. And, I was worried watching that game that's where Duran was going to be really challenged, was trying to keep up with Michigan State's transition offense. And there were certainly moments where he struggled with that. But all things considered, I thought he did pretty well.
Yeah, and the thing, they have to maintain this now going forward. And I think that with Juwan going down, it also, and I mentioned this, it gave a lot of other members on this team the opportunity, not that they haven't had them before, but the opportunity to step up and be the guy for the day. And I think everybody did that in their way. Duran did it with 25 minutes of great play, shooting 4 of 8 from the field, giving them 12 points. He also gave them 6 rebounds and 4 assists. So Duran Davis's impact felt across the board. But then you also have Devontae Green, who comes in off the bench. And at bench points, 28 bench points, more than they had in I don't even know how many games combined. They out-rebound Michigan State. So I don't want to hear this crap from Michigan State. Well, we didn't have our player like Josh Langford. I don't want to hear that crap. Indiana's lost so many players this year. Before coming into this, they lose Jawan during the game. They might as well have lost Rob Finney because he was not in attendance, basically. He didn't score in that game. He put up one shot. He only played 18 minutes. He fouls out. So IU's point guard is non-existent. And they get a guy who hadn't even played in 3 years has to come in and basically run that. So all the improbability is just it grows unbelievably, and yet they're able to come through. And I think that if they can't build off of this, man, there's not much more that should make you any happier than the effort that they gave and the success they was able to pull out of there through that hard work alone. But without a win against Iowa at home, all of that to me was for naught. So they've got to continue to do it and maintain that level of play and effort.
Yeah, I mean that's really what it comes down to, right? I mean, you can enjoy, we're probably already past the point where we should be enjoying this. I guess as fans, we can do it as long as we want until Thursday night. But if they come out and have a game against Iowa like they did against Nebraska or Michigan at home, then we're right back where we started, right? I mean, it's not going to really mean a whole heck of a lot, and it's really going to make the win over Michigan State just that much more improbable, if that's even possible at this point. But the reality is that Iowa's a really good team. They just beat the same Michigan team that pretty much destroyed us. They
20.
Beat them by. Yeah, and even more impressive than the margin was the fact that they held Michigan to 59 points. I mean, the knock on Iowa here the last few years has always been their defense, and for them to hold a good Michigan offense to 59, makes you pause. It's something Archie said last night on his radio show that I wasn't aware of, and I don't know if this is new for Iowa, is that he said they play a lot of different types of zone defense, and that immediately took me back to that Nebraska game because that's what gave Indiana fits was Nebraska's 1-3-1 zone, and by the same token, that's what Indiana got rolling on Saturday night was playing against a man and really getting the.
We haven't seen any of this year, and that's be consistent. They have to consistently come back and do the same things, but now they have to do them with Juwan Morgan in there. They're going to have to do them with Rob Finney. They're going to have to get this all together. But I think that maybe that did show them that they can and are more than capable of doing this. So hopefully that alone will give them the confidence boost to maintain playing at this level, but within the confines of the team concept, which, like I said, I think that was part of – there's been so many facets to that problem that it's hard to believe that all of them can just disappear in one fell swoop. As it appeared. So I think you got to be cautious, but they certainly showed what they are capable of. Now they have to show that they are capable of doing that game in and game out.
Yeah, and if you want to carry that point further with, it's hard to believe, what if Michigan State just hit a reasonable amount of free throws, or what if Indiana was more along the lines of what they had been from behind the three-point line. It's easy to flip the script on that game with a couple variables. So, it's a, to use a cliche, it's a game of inches, and it's certainly, a few things going a different way could have completely changed the outcome on Saturday night. But just from an overall confidence boost, I mean, probably the, beyond making shots and running better offense, just the energy level goes so far. I mean, you've been talking about it. Your guests have been talking about it for weeks now. Where's the energy? Where's the drive in this team? And they had it. And probably no one exemplified that better for me than Justin Smith. Another guy that people have kind of taken some issue with, and justifiably so. But when he makes up his mind that he's going to attack the glass, he is an elite player. I mean, he still has offensive limitations, but just that will come in time. But if he focuses on defense and rebounding, he makes a big difference on that team, and nothing showed that more than his blocks at the very end of that game.
Absolutely, it was critical, but that's the effort that has to be out there every time again.
Yep.
And that's that's not unreasonable to expect that. So that does have to be there. He does have to come every night. All those guys have to do what they did the other night. They have to play like that every night for this team to have a chance. And they're capable of, obviously. Now they take on an Iowa team at home. But Iowa's a team that's in the similar position. They're fighting and struggling at the not at the bottom of the Big Ten, but the lower end of the middle. And they're trying to remain relevant. They want to play in the NCAA tournament, and they've got some. The Michigan win was a huge resume builder, and you don't think a win over Indiana would be great for their resume like it is for Nebraska's right now? So this is not going to be. There are no gimmies. Even when you go to Illinois, which is going to be a must-win for Indiana in my mind, you cannot lose to an Illinois team. But they have to hold serve. You have to win your home games, and you got to go steal one somewhere on the road, I think. For them to make it into the tournament this year.
Yeah, I mean, or be perfect at home, which seems like it's going to be really hard to do because I think every home game they have left up until the last one against Rutgers is against like a Ken Palm top 25 team. So there are no gimmies here along the way.
And Iowa's a team that obviously presents problems. You just mentioned that they beat Michigan, a great Michigan team, and they didn't just beat them; they beat them by 20. So that's something that no one else has done this year. So this is obviously going to be another tough ball game for Indiana. But what are some of the things about Iowa that will present problems for Indiana?
Well, for one thing, they're big. I mean, they've got two really talented forwards in Tyler Cook and Luka Garza. Garza is a guy that's really improved a lot year over year and can really stretch the defense. I mean, I think Indiana can match up with those two reasonably well with Smith and Morgan, although Garza's a little bit bigger. But they are both talented. They both can get out and run. You know, that they present a challenge. But then also the perimeter shooting. You know, there's Iowa. If Langford's the best freshman in the league, Iowa's freshman Wieskamp is right there with him. He's won a couple Big Ten Freshmen of the Week, kind of flying under the radar because of guys like Langford. But that matchup, they'll probably end up guarding each other, and that will be a really fun one to watch. And then they've got Jordan Bohannon, a point guard that has been there for a while now and can really score the ball, great perimeter shooter. And then a cast of guys. I mean, the thing about Iowa, you know, I noticed this going into the season, I think they returned their top 8 scorers from last year. So this is a very veteran group that's been in McCaffrey's system for a while. They've got another guy named Moss who's really hot right now and really improved year over year as well. So that they're a group that's got to be coming to Bloomington confident after that win. You know, maybe hopefully for Indiana fans that they're coming in, you know, beating their chest a little bit too happy with themselves right now, because that game against Michigan, I don't know if people saw, but that was a court storm game. That's how big it was. You know, beating Michigan at home to that team and their fans. So, you know, could they have a letdown coming to Bloomington on Thursday night? That's what you got to hope for. But the reality is both teams are coming off that kind of win, so it's going to be interesting. Somebody's going to have a big letdown on Thursday night.
Yeah, if Indiana plays their game like they should, and they're at home, there's no way they should lose. It doesn't matter against this Iowa team, because Iowa's not. It's not that Iowa's better than Indiana, so Indiana has to play their game. But they have to give that effort that they gave the other night. You can't mail it in. And I think that maybe it was youth or whatever, for a while they thought they could mail it in. They were reading their headlines maybe, but obviously not the case. You got to play. You got to show up, and when they do show up, obviously they can do a lot of good things, especially when they don't even have their best players at hand.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I think that game is really going to come down to who knocks down perimeter shots. And, you know, I would say that Iowa's the better perimeter shooting team. I don't think there's much doubt about that. But hopefully Indiana can carry that confidence that they gained on Saturday night into this game, and hopefully the crowd.
I'll see you on the radio.